Hi, everyone. Thanks for stopping by today to talk about Overtime Premium, or OVT Premium as we call it here at IS. What does OVT Premium do? Let's take a look. OVT Premium came about in response to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which introduced tracking of qualified tips and qualified overtime compensation and having employers relay that information to their employees, typically on a W-2. So let's talk a little bit more about the details and how that would be done. So what we would take is, let's say somebody's paid $10 normally and overtime is 15. So if they had worked 1 hour of overtime pay, what we'd be doing is taking the $5 difference and considering that part of that premium pay that we need to record onto your W-2. And with our tool, you'll get the option of, do I want to have that in the W-2 in box 12 or in box 14? Gives you the flexibility for both the overtime premium piece as well as for your tips, if you want that in box 12 or 14 as well. And that is based all on setup, and we'll show you that here in a few minutes. Also, too, we have the ability to record this information and have it show on a smart list as well. So if you want to view it all up on a smart list, you can do that. Or if you want to just look at it once it's into your W-2 table and files, you can do that as well. So let's see it actually in GP. Let me go ahead and bring up GP. Bring that over. All right, so in GP, I'm going to jump in here to the Overtime Premium setup window, and we have a few questions that we need to answer. First, we need to decide for your W-2, for your overtime and double time, do you want that to be in box 12 or box 14? And here you can choose one of those options, as well as put in the label that would go along with this option that you're marking for box 12 or box 14. And the same for your charges and reported tips. Again, choosing which box that you want that recorded into on your W-2 and what label do you want that to be associated with. And on the bottom portion of this window, we get into, for your overtime pay that we're going to be calculating, what pay codes do you want us to be including in that calculation? Because we're hearing from some of you that you don't want all of your pay codes. They don't all meet the criteria from an overtime premium perspective. So here you can choose to mark all, unmark all, or you can pick and choose the pay codes that are listed below. And for those of you that have lots of pay codes for overtime, you can actually type that code in here, and then I'll bring it up, and so you can find it easily down below. And that's overtime, double time, charge tips, and reported tips. All 4 of those are your pay types. And then down below, we're listing out the pay codes that are associated with those. So I'll go ahead and mark all those and click Save. Now that you have your setup information done, let's talk about the process. And from a process perspective, you would go through and do your normal year-end closing process. And when you go through that portion, what it's doing is creating your W-2 file for your year, right? And so here it would run it for 2027. And you would be able to see that information get created and view that in your Edit W-2 window. So we will piggyback off of that process down here in this overtime premium process. So go ahead and bring that up. So again, if you ran, in this case, sample data 2027, we'll get that ran and built out there, then we would come in and do this additional process on the same year. And what it's going to be doing is making those calculations of, okay, what is really the premium pay, and bringing those totals based on the calculations of all your transactions that you've done for the particular year, 2027 in my sample data, and bringing those numbers into our W-2 table so that we can have them accurately print out in the W-2 box 12 or box 14. So go ahead, we'll click process here, and we'll say, yes, we need the additional W-2 information. It takes just a few minutes to process. And let's take a look at what it did. So let's go into our Edit W-2 window. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring up my first employee here. We have Aaron, and we can take a look and see right here in box 12, box 14, it is bringing in TT, which was the label that we had in setup for $1,500. So we can see that here on Aaron. That's coming in based on our tool. And then I'll move ahead to Aaron, another employee who I know we have posted both tips to and overtime premium pay. So we'll go again to the other box here. You can see box 14 with that particular label and $350. And then if I go under special, I can see box 12 TP for our tips is showing at $150. And you still have the normal capabilities in these windows. So again, if you needed to edit dollar amounts, you could do that here. But you can also print a smart list to see the data, see what information would be printing out on all your employees as well. And that's our quick summary of Overtime Premium. If you have any other questions, please reach out at sales@iscorp.biz or give us a call. We would love to get into more detail or answer any questions that you may have about this tool. Thanks for joining us.